Okay, so what the paint pockets, the paint pockets can be used to let me just explain what the paint pocket. Let me draw 3 circles. I'm coming. Okay, let me draw the first one completely full. Oh, that's too big. First one completely full, the second one just a little opened, third one like really like just wide, a little bit wider than this one. So now when you're using the paint bucket, which you could access by pressing K on the keyboard, there are sometimes you want to fill in objects you've already drawn, and when you fill it in, let's say for example I wanted to fill this in with blue, it works perfectly and it fills. There are sometimes when you try to use it, and then it doesn't fill, and that's just because there's a gap right there, and it's always good to keep that in mind, because you're going to sometimes you're going to want to paint some stuff and you wonder why it's not painting. It's always because there's a gap. Sometimes maybe very micro mini gap like that, but that's usually the case. So, and in a case like that, you can use the options right here, which is the gap size. And the gap size is like the tolerance you want your paint bucket to work with. So you can increase the tolerance or make it the perfect enclosure. So for example, if I change this to close small gaps and then click, okay, for example, close small gap, and then I click, okay, I guess that's too big. Let's try close medium gap, and then the medium gap works. So then let's try the next one. Let's see if the medium gap works. The medium gap works for that too. So for example, if you add something wider, for example, let's decrease the size of that. If you add something wider, then sometimes you have to go in and draw and close in your gaps. Sometimes you have to close in your gaps, or you come in here and close and choose the gap setting. Sometimes you have to zoom out, so Flash sees that gap as small. When you zoom out, the Flash will see the gap as smaller, than if, for example, if I click this, it will work now. But if I am inside, if I zoom in real big and I try to use it, it wouldn't work. So those are kind of like the troubleshooting stuff you are going to be using, during when you're using Flash. Like sometimes you want to fill in a gap, but you don't want to draw, or maybe there are too many things to be, to start drawing in one by one. All you have to do is zoom out and then fill it, zoom back in, and you can zoom in and zoom out by pressing Control minus and Control plus. Control plus for zooming in, and Control minus for zooming out. Alright, so that's all about the paint bucket tool. And then the next one I would like to talk about is the eyedrop. The eyedrop, for example, the eyedrop is basically something you can use to sample colors. You can use to sample colors. For example, if I wanted to paint this particular color, if I wanted to paint this particular circle with this color, I don't have to start going, I don't have to start going in there and looking at which one is which, and what color fits. All I have to do is just come to the eyedrop tool, or you press I on your keyboard and then click it right there. Once you click it, it has already sampled that color, and then you can just use it and paste it on any different one you want. Alright, so that's what the eyedrop is all about. Then you have the eraser tool. The eraser tool is obviously used for erasing stuffs. So the eraser tool can also, it works like a brush tool, but it's you can change the size too. You can change the size. When you increase it too much, it becomes like a box. So that's just it. Okay, the eraser also has settings, and it's just kind of like what we did with the brush, set the brush modes. and that's just what the eraser also does right here. So for example, if I selected this erase fields and I add this particular polygon right here, if I were to erase, and it's on erase fields, it will erase only the stuff inside but not the strokes. It will erase the fill. So for example, if I clean across, it leaves the strokes intact but not the fills. And the reverse is the case if you select erase lines. So it's going to erase the lines but leave the fill intact. And yeah, so you can just play around with the different modes. You're not really going to be changing that most of the time, sincerely. Erase normal works quite just fine for most general cases. Alright, so the next tool we're going to be talking about is the pan. The navigation sub panel is the pan, and that's just the hand to grab the stage and move it around for navigation, and the zoom tool, which you can use to zoom in, or you press Alt on the keyboard and then you zoom out by clicking. You can also access the pan by pressing the space bar and just using your mouse or your stylus to move it around. Okay, now the next one is the color palette, and like I explained before, the color palette for the strokes is the one that has the pencil icon right beside it, and this works for your lines, your pen, and your pencil tool, and it also works for determining the stroke color of any shape you draw. Okay, then your paint bucket color right here works for your brush. Your brush and your paint bucket use the same panel. And this little button right here is if you want a quick, because you're going to be using black a lot and white, sometimes you just need a quick reset, you just need a black color, you can just click that and whatever color is there just automatically changes to black or white. Or there are sometimes that you may want to switch the color. That's where you use this swap color, and then the one that was on top before comes down, and the one that was down before goes up. Alright, so yeah, so that's basically a rundown of the basic tools that you're going to be using in Flash. There are still more tools, but I feel these are the basic tools. Like for example, okay, let me just say this for example, this stroke right now, if you want to change the color, let me draw another line here so I can explain what I'm saying. So for example, if I have a fill, this is a fill because I drew with it with a brush. This is a fill, and this is a stroke because I drew it with a line. Okay, so if I take the eyedropper and I take a color sample from a stroke, it's going to change into a ink bottle, and this is called an ink bottle, and it can also be found right under the paint bucket. They're actually the same mode. They're actually the same, under the same icon, and you can access it by pressing S, and access the paint bucket by pressing K. So like I was saying, if you use the eyedropper to take a line color, which is a stroke, it will change to a ink bottle, and ink bottles are used for changing the colors of strokes. For example, if I press this ink bottle on this particular color right here, on this particular fill, it wouldn't fill the inside, it will just give color to the exterior portion of the fill. It wouldn't change the color of the fill itself, and that's because it works only on strokes. So for example, you can change the colors of other strokes. You can change the colors of other strokes by using the ink bottle. So in case you're wondering how to change the stroke colors without going up here into the property panels, yeah, so the ink bottle is what you use. Alright, I think we've been able to cover the basic tools in Flash. Yeah, so we've come to the end of today's tutorial. Hope you're able to learn something new. If you found this tutorial helpful, please like and subscribe. And if you have any comments or suggestions or videos you want me to do, please leave a comment in the comment section below. Till next time, thank you for watching.